Hello, everybody. It's so great to have you here today. I have a guest today coming from Wisconsin. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and I am so excited to share this individual with you. He is actually the president of the Baraboo Bluffs ATV UTV Club there, and they are doing a lot. And you really want to hear what they're doing, and definitely want, if you're in that area, even within 2 hours, you certainly want to consider joining up with them and finding out what it is you can do to help, because it takes people to do great things, and we certainly need you to do that. So without further ado, I want to introduce the president, Mr. Bob Spencer. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for agreeing to speak with me today here. And so tell me about your club. What do you guys got going on?
Well, we got seems to be a lot of things going on. We have, like I say, we're pushing to get everyone the same opportunities that we have in our township, the ability to leave their house without trailering and access the local areas. We're hoping to get the whole county wide opened up. Right now, thanks to a neighboring club that started this movement and paved the way for us, we have we have 20 out of 22 townships in Sauk County that have ATV routes of some sort in them. We also have 11 out of 14 villages that either have ATV routes or are in the process of developing ordinances for it. And we have 2 out of our 3 cities in the Sauk County area that have ATV routes where all streets are opened. We've got about 75% of our county highways open to ride. We're working on trying to get 100%. The other night, the county board approved another 53.89 miles of connecting highway links for us. So it is happening.
That's great. That is awesome. Really, your club is relatively new, but your membership is growing like crazy from what I understand. Tell me about that.
Well, we started out in April of 2018. And the reason we started our club because the local clubs around us didn't want to expand any farther east than what they were. So we started this club so we could have the same privilege to ride what everybody else has. And then since then, we've gotten 2 townships fully opened up. We also have another township that's 7/8 way opened up. And we also have a village opened up. And we're working on another township that goes to referendum April 6th. We're hoping to get the residents there ask us for their support and help. Most of them are members for our club, and they want to have access to what we have. Because in Sauk County, we have over 1,100 miles of ATV routes presently that are legal to ride. Because the uniqueness of Sauk County, we're blessed to be such a beautiful area, but cursed because so much of it's invaluable farmland and conservancy that they won't allow us to ride on the protected lands. So because of ATV routes have evolved in the last few years, we're using the routes. So we have, we're fortunate that we have 1,100 miles and gaining about every month, we're gaining more routes. I know that asphalt's probably the least desirable surface to ride, but it gives us something to do. And it's pleasurable to see some of our mature people that they'll spend the whole day riding the whole county. I mean, they'll get on the machines, and we have 2 84-year-old members that's what they live for, to get up and go on and we have rides, especially for the mature riders. If they don't want to go, exceptionally fast, we'll do a mature breakfast ride or something, it'll be under, because our speed limits are 35 on the ATV routes here.
Okay.
If they don't feel comfortable with 35, we'll drive 30 and stay off the highways. We'll get on all county roads or country roads and town roads and just spend the day and let them have fun. And then we also have our other rides. We got a ride coming up for a cancer benefit Saturday, which is we have a very active club. And we're fortunate that in Sauk County, we have 4 ATV clubs that share the county with us, or 3 other ones that share with us. We're the 4th. And it's just working out so great.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I mean, what you're doing there. I mean, just the level of activity and such. Now, rumor has it, even manufacturers of different ATVs and UTVs and such are getting involved with helping with ATV routes and such in your area. I mean, can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, it used to be that everybody always used the excuse about ATVs not being on the roadway for safety factors and stuff. Now, if you look at the new UTVs, I was looking for a copy of the new UTVs sticker list and warning stickers on them. The label says to be used on a paved roadways, but it has in parentheses of unless the road has been designated for off-highway use. And what that means, and then it says because collisions with automobiles and trucks can occur. What that means by a designated ATV off-highway use, designated off-highway use would be the fact that it's an ATV route, where the routes are properly signed, allowing motorists to know that there are ATVs on the roadway. And but being Sauk County is a very rural area anyway, and Wisconsin is really big in ATV routes. There's over 34,000 miles in the state of Wisconsin that you can ride on routes and trails. So actually leave our county, we can connect to 2 other counties, which allow us to connect to 7 more counties up north. So we got thousands of miles we could ride just from our house here without having a trailer now. So it's coming.
That's fantastic. And of course, that obviously takes a lot of work on a lot of people's effort and such. And so that's great.
A lot of people don't realize that on these ATV routes, like with a lot of trails too, it's the routes are not funded by the state of Wisconsin. The routes are all funded and procured, signed, and maintained by the ATV clubs. So if an area like a municipality that wants to get a township or municipality that wants ATV routes, the clubs are responsible for the signage. We pay for the signage unless I've only known one village. It was a village of West Baraboo that realized the economic impact for their community, and they decided to pay for it themselves. And other than that, normally the clubs have to pay, and some of these run into thousands of dollars. So that's why we pushed to support your local ATV clubs, or you'd be sitting home in your garage with no place to ride. So
right, exactly. Tell me one of your funniest stories, or that you can recall, either that makes you still shake your head or laugh today when you think about it from an ATV experience.
Well, the funniest thing I can remember, my wife's still hasn't forgiven me yet. That was when we first purchased a machine. This was back in 2016, 17, probably. I think it was 16. We had a friend of mine who was a associate dean with MATC, or Madison Area Technical College. He was getting ready to retire, and he said, "Bob, we got to find a hobby. We got to find something we can do and enjoy." So he said, "I've been looking around." and went down to the dealership there, and they've got a couple of ATVs or UTVs. Go down and look at them and see what you think. So I went down and test drove one that he was talking about, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, I think it's going to be fun." He said, "Okay, tell them to order me one too." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I want you to buy one, so you got something to go at, and tell them to order me one too." So we did. We got machines, and mine happened to I bought one with a winch on it and stuff, and he bought it without the winch because he figured they wouldn't need it. We went up to Minnesota, up in Sturgeon Lake, Minnesota. I hope the statute of limitations isn't over on this, but we, being novices, we didn't know the difference between a snowmobile trail and an ATV trail. The snowmobile trails all have an orange applicate or arrow, excuse me, an orange diamond with an arrow on a black arrow on it. And the ATV ones are brown. But we didn't know the difference. And we're heading back on to Turtle Lake, our campsite. And we seen a sign that said, hey, it was kind of a sign hidden back in the brush a little bit, but said our campground was like 6 miles this way, and we knew it was like 20 miles the other way. Said, well, here's a shortcut. So we took that, and it ended up, I was stuck in a bog. I was buried in a bog, and we spent quite a bit of time getting it out, and then cabling over a big, I'll send you pictures of that, but we cabled over a big stump as we went in. We hit a big stump too, and that was probably today it's funny, you know, I mean, at that time, I was still having fun, but it was so scary. You put one leg in the ground and you can't feel bottom, and then you stick your other leg in and you go up to your waist and still can't feel bottom. So you had to stretch out, grab the bumper and pull yourself across it. Luckily, it was a short distance in the bog, but, and then we cabled out. So then we realized we still got another 10 miles going down the road. It could be a lot worse yet. So we better turn around and go back. So we found another spot, didn't look quite so bad, but I was wrong. And a friend that didn't have the winch, as soon as we got back, he went to the dealer, and I think he spent $1,200 to have a winch put on his, because he wasn't going to get stuck in that situation. But that's probably the funniest part of it. And I say I feel bad because it was my own stupidity for not knowing the rules and regulations, and that's the problem we have today with people who are buying machines. They're not getting fully instructed.
Right.
They have no concept of. So we try to push a thing called Know Before You Go, because each township or municipality, along with the county and the state regulations, are all varying in ordinances of what time of operation and different speed limits. Sometimes even they vary. So what we try to do is promote this program called Know Before You Go. If you're going to be in a certain township or municipality, then look up the ordinance once. And then we're actually trying to find a central spot. They do have it on our county website where a lot of them are listed, you know, the times of operations and speed limits for each.
Right.
It's very helpful, but getting people to follow it is, you know, to know about it, it's the whole thing. So.
Right. You know, it all comes down to the education, and that's what everybody needs to be really working on right now, because as the sport becomes so incredibly popular because of the way things are right now, you know, anybody can go out and buy, you know, with a credit card, can buy a unit, and it's just, that's great. And encourage that. I think it's awesome, but make sure you either go with someone who really knows the ropes or do a lot of research ahead of time.
Yeah, that's why we encourage people to spend the money, join a club, support the routes, and you'll learn with people. Well, they'll show you the ropes, you'll learn your regulations, and you'll teach you the right way to do it, rather than going on your own and going rogue. Because what you're going to do by going rogue and violating those regulations is you're going to lose our routes. Number one is if they're riding on roads that they're not going to be, we fight with the townships and municipalities. Mm-hmm. Open. When we have a violator, then we have to go ahead for review in the townships and municipalities. And sometimes we lose them or get them closed down.
Right.
Very important that everybody follows the regulations. They're there for a reason. It's to appease everyone, so we can share the roadways with other people or other motor vehicles. But once we start violating either on the trails or the routes, not paying attention to the rules, then we start losing everything. So it's a privilege, not a right, and it can be removed.
Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, because it's funny, because I'm glad you say that, because really it takes thousands of man hours to get these set up, and it takes 5 minutes of one person making either a poor decision or just not having the right information to ruin it all. And just think about it. If you have land and you're a landowner and you say, hey, we love the sport and we thank you for, you know, just make sure you stay within this boundary and you can cross my land and get to the rest of your trails. Otherwise, you have to, like you said, go another 20 miles around. And, you know, figure out, if you don't understand something, figure out the why that rule is in place. And I promise you, we'll all be a lot happier if you know the why behind the regulation. So,
Yeah, like I say, people don't realize the hours we have to spend into getting a trail or a route opened.
mhm.
It's all the town board or municipal meetings we have to go to in order to get it passed through to an ordinance, and then the convincing that we're going to follow through and help regulate those. So people don't realize that in the money we spend on the routes to put the signage up, and then by that 1%, they can roll it for 99% because we're all there on a trial basis. And if, like I said before, it's not a right, it's a privilege, and all privileges can be removed and it only takes 1% to ruin it for 99.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's a shame to see all that go away. Anyway, let's go to something a little more positive. What's the one of the best places you've ever ridden in your life?
Every place. I enjoy riding every place. We've done 3-day rides in our club where we actually leave the village of West Baraboo where everything is all open, and we'd ride the back roads, and we all the way go up to Black River Falls. It's 147 miles of back roads just to get there. And some of the roads are gravel, some go through a wildlife refuge.
Mhm.
Roads. Once we get up there, then Black River Falls and Jackson County is full of trails. We'll spend the whole day riding. The next day we spend the whole day riding the trails up there, and then the third day we come home through Millston, which is another area of trails and stuff, and back home again. But we put on 432 miles in 3 days, and those rides are fun. We've also done our club now is adventuring all bit. There's a place called North Coast Adventures. Steve Hamilton's North Coast Adventures in the UP. He offers tour packages, and it was such a ball up there. We had trailered up there. We took 22 people or 24 machines up there with us, and we just had a fantastic time up there. If you, they put it as a different levels. We went as a moderate level, and some of the people we had, that was their first outing. They've only ridden on routes and roadways rather than ever been on a trail.
Oh, wow.
So they started getting in the deep mud or the rocky terrain. They were just, and the husband was worried about scratching up his machine, but the wife was having a ball. I mean, she just posted having, and
Mhm.
all in all, everybody had a good time. And then and they have the guides with it. They do such a good job organizing stuff too. And they got mud that's, I put the test of my machine. I bought a new Polaris Ranger North Star with full cab and the doors and stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I couldn't go in some of the areas, but that Polaris Ranger is a fantastic machine. I'll tell you, that is a workhorse. At any place I could have gone with any other machine, and it was fantastic and comfortable. That's the main thing. Heat and air conditioning. At my age, at 68 years, want to get that. So
you don't want to be eating a whole bunch of dust and having a whole bunch of mud flung at you and so forth.
And we actually ride 12 months out of the year in our club. Our club organizes rides all year round, and we've been in snowstorms and we've been everything else. And I feel safer driving in a snowstorm on an icy road in my UTV than I do in my truck. So it's fun.
That's great. That is great. So this upcoming season, what do you see as some of your biggest challenges coming up?
Well, excuse me. Our upcoming season, like I say, right now we have one township and municipality. As far as challenges go, knock on wood, that goes to referendum April 6th, which is next week, where we were asked by the residents, most of the residents are members of our club, to help them get it through. That's one challenge there. We've been fighting for about 2.5 years trying to get in there, even get it on the agenda, because the town chairman was against it. Everybody else was in favor, but the town chairman was against it. We have the city of Baraboo, which is the only city out of the remaining city out of the three in sorry about that. The challenges we have besides the Greenfield Township would be the city of Baraboo, which we have quite a few members now in the city of Baraboo. It's the last out of the 3 cities in Sauk County. It's the last one that does not support ATV routes. There are 2 councilmen that have been on the board for maybe too many years, the council, and their response was that over their dead body it's going to happen. So I don't know how they really feel. I wish they'd tell me.
Yeah, they really beat around the bush.
But we're really influenced by gaining business support and the residents. And if we have it through the businesses, because part of our club's goals, one of our 4 goals is to take and promote local area is to support local area businesses along with promoting ATV recreation.
Right.
So those are our 2 biggest challenges. Hopefully they'll come through. We've only been fighting those about 2.5 years, but like everything else, it's usually worth the wait. So.
Yep. A little more time. Again, it goes back to speak to those thousands of hours of man hours to get it put in place. Yep. So, I can't, imply enough to people. Just make sure you know what you're doing so you don't ruin someone's really hard work. Yeah, I think you really actually hit everything on the questions here.
Sorry, I got ahead of you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's all good.
As you know, when it comes to ATV, I'm pretty passionate about ATV routes. And my whole thing is I enjoy seeing people using the routes respectfully, families, and some of our mature members. I enjoy that, watching them enjoy it as much as I do using the machine myself. It gives me great pride to see these people out there enjoying outside in the outside weather and with families together, or just these mature people out there just having a fun. And that's what ATV recreation is all about. It's not about destruction and the Hells Angels hasn't sold all their 2-wheel motorcycles and bought ATVs like everybody thinks. It's all about family fun, and it's creation. There was so much bad press at the beginning there because it was such like anything else, snowmobiles and everything else. Remember when snowmobiles tried to get movement going? It was just they fought, banged their head against the wall trying to fight stuff too. It's the same public. Now look at what the snowmobiles trails are everywhere here, especially in Wisconsin. So
sure. Oh, that's great. Well, I really appreciate all the work you're doing, Bob, and standing up for the great fight there, and because the fruits of your labor are really paying off, as everyone can see. What can people do to get involved, get more information, and maybe join the club? Like where would they go?
Well, best thing to do is start researching the ATVs in the area that you live in. Do a Google search and find out about ATV clubs in your area. Like I say, we're blessed to have in Sauk County 4 different clubs. We've got the Sauk Ridge Runners, which is responsible. They're the oldest club. They're responsible for signing and actually procuring and signing and maintaining probably about 80% of our roads in Sauk County. And there's the Baraboo Bluffs ATV Club. We're probably one of the newest, but right now the biggest and fastest growing. And then we have Wisconsin River Runners, which is the southern part that goes into 2 counties, Richland and Sauk County. And then we have the Honey Creek Club, which is they're getting their act together and they're moving along now too. So what they have to do is go on Google, search ATV Club, and then put your area in it, and you'll find there's a lot of different clubs, a lot of Facebook pages, a lot of websites. Through that, see which meets your needs the most. And if you ride in multiple areas, like I belong to 3 other clubs and 3 other organizations too, because we support them all because we're all at the same effort, some of the same routes, and it all goes for a good cause. So if you can support more clubs in one, fantastic. But I would say do your research, go through their Facebook pages, look and see what they're actually about. Look back and see their history once and see what they've accomplished and what they're doing. And it's give you a lot of information.
That's great. That's awesome. That's great advice. Well, thank you so much for all of your time this morning and just, spreading the word and keep doing what you're doing. And again, thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely.
And if you ever want to talk about ATV routes, call me because
Absolutely. Will do.
I'm good at giving advice, just not good at giving good advice. So
Aren't we all, right? Free advice is what it is.